This is what Justin's hair reminded me of.
Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to my channel. This is Brownsugar Commentary, and I'm your girl, Kayla. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe for more videos about Black entertainment, Black womanhood, and whatever the heck else I feel like talking about this week. All right, let's get right in to it. And today, we gonna be talking about Mr. Justin Drew Bieber. Yes, I said the full government because now that's the only way we could address him because he been wilding. Like, he been wilding. But like it was like the regular amount of wilding, like typical, teen boy behavior, teen star behavior. But now you big grown now, Mr. Justin, and you've been doing some things and it's just not adding up. Like in the past year or so, give or take, he's been doing a lot of questionable things that we gotta talk about. We gotta talk about it because you know what? Quiet as it's kept, I was a genuine Justin Bieber fan. Now I was a little bit of a closeted Justin Bieber fan because, I was a black girl and it was not really cool for black people like Justin Bieber, at least in the beginning, like pre-journals. I feel like journals when a lot of black people started catching on. I'm like, okay. But like for me, Justin Bieber was probably like the first teen star that I genuinely like grew up like listening to and seeing growing up as well as I'm growing up. Because like, before it was Aaron Carter. I was like in elementary school, Aaron Carter was a thing. Then there was Justin McCartney. I was relatively like in elementary, middle school when he was a thing. But you know what's crazy though? You gotta give it to Justin. He has stood the test of time because those two men I talked about literally had one or two albums and like faded into obscurity. Like, whereas Justin has been relevant for over a decade now. So, I mean, you got to give it to him, right? Because, like I said, that's not a long man's game. However, like I said, the moves that Mr. Justin has been making in the past two albums or so, it has been weird. Like, it's been weird, and we're going to talk about all of it. We're just going to talk about the controversies, or we're going to talk about like the rise of Justin and then kind of like the controversies he's been in and then the controversies as of late, and we're going to discuss, you know what I mean? So Justin Bieber came out around what 2010, I want to say, is when he like burst onto the scene. He was discovered by his manager Scooter Braun, who I know people don't be rocking with because he a little bit of a questionable man with questionable motives, but that's a conversation for another day. But what really made him blow up is because he got discovered by the Usher. And if you know, we stand Usher Raymond the Fourth in this household. But it was a perfect mentor for Justin because Usher was a child star himself. And, he is a person that perfectly transitioned from teen to adult and still relevant to this day. So, you know what I mean? And like Justin was doing a lot of covers via YouTube, and he was covering, a lot of R&B, urban pop type of records. So, like I said, a person who has done both pop and R&B music was Usher, so obviously perfect fit, right? And I mean, Justin Bieber was a big freaking deal when he came out. He kind of felt like an overnight success. I know he wasn't, but it kind of felt like that. It was like he was here one minute and then he was everywhere the next minute. His first album was My World, and then he had My World 2.0, and there's nothing but bops on there, guys. Like I can't lie. I cannot lie. It's like I said, it's very true blue bubblegum pop type of records. But it's fun. It was fun. And like I said, good for the age group that the music was made for. I mean, you had Baby, Somebody to Love, um, what else? One Less Lonely Girl, One Time. Like, not never say never. Like, it was just, and you know what's crazy about My World is like it's not even like the singles were good, but like the B-sides, like Down to Earth, I favorite girl, like I'm sorry. I liked it. I liked it. Okay, middle school Kayla was living for my roles. I'm not gonna lie to you. And like I said, all the little girls loved him. All the little boys got a little swoop-de-whoop haircut. Like, it was a moment. Okay, he had a movie. Like I said, he had a song with Jaden Smith. Like, it was a big deal. He was a big, big deal. Time went on, you know, he made what was it? He made Mistletoe. That was his next album the following year. He was getting a little bit older, voice dropping a little bit. Once again, Mistletoe is not a bad Christmas album. It's a solid pop Christmas album. Great features in there. It had Mariah in there, Boyz II Men, Busta Rhymes. I mean, Mistletoe is a solid Christmas song. But yeah, and then this is around the time I think he was starting to date Selena Gomez, and so that was a big deal to people. And then the following year we had the Believe era, which I like to call the boyfriend era, because I don't know why the album wasn't just called Boyfriend, but whatever, neither here nor there. I feel like Believe is where he started doing more of the urban pop that we know Justin Bieber for. I basically mean when like pop music that relies heavily on Black artists or Black features, right? Like I said, Justin Timberlake is known for that. Even someone like yeah, Justin Timberlake is probably the only other contemporary artist that does stuff like that. But Justin Bieber relied very heavily on Black artists on this album. He had Big Sean in there. He had Ludacris in there. He had Nicki Minaj on there. He had Drake on there. I think that's it, right? I think so. But once again, Believe's a solid album. What I really like though is Believe Acoustic. That's when I knew that Justin Bieber makes, like I said, he's here to stay. That's when I knew he was here to stay, because Acoustic, that's the bag he should have stayed in, because literally no one else is making that guitar music. Obviously, like Ed Sheeran stepped onto the scene, I think, around this time, but like it could have been his bag. It could have been Justin's bag, and I wouldn't have been mad at it, because Believe Acoustic is pretty damn good. I'm saying pretty solid songs. Like, I'm telling you, like, it's not a bad album. It's not. If you like pop music, if that's your bag, you will enjoy Believe. But Believe. And then we had Journals, which is, like I said, Black people's favorite album, because it's Justin Bieber's closest album to R&B. I wouldn't quite call it 100% R&B, because there are some songs on there that is skating on the pop side. But it is the closest thing he would definitely have. And it is his most solid project to date, to be honest. I think that it is pretty good. Like I said, with the exception of 2 songs, one with the, you know, a questionable person is on that album. I'm not gonna say his name. If you know, you know. And the song has a little Will on there. I don't like it. But other than that, the album is pretty good. Like I said, very much more mature than previous albums, more sexual. Even in the videos, very much more sexual. You know, content. He's, you know, very shirtless. Like I said, at this point, he done cut the hair. You know, that was a little time that people enjoyed. And yeah, like I said, this album also very heavily reliant on Black features. A Chance the Rapper was in it, Lil Wayne, like I just said. Big Sean again. What I said, did I say Chance the Rapper? Chance the Rapper. Yeah, like I said, solid album. Like I said, I think that Journals probably didn't do as well commercially as the previous 2 albums, because I know My World was a really big hit for Justin. But I think it was just because they didn't really promote it that much. I don't know if they thought that it probably wouldn't do as well because it was so urban. But it wasn't promoted a lot. But I still think it probably did okay. I'll probably put it if it did it or not, but I feel like out of all his albums, there was no big singles. Like, I know Confident, especially now on TikTok, is a big thing, but I feel like it wasn't that big of a song compared to something like a Baby. Like, Baby was an internationally huge single. But yeah, so there's that. And then you have Purpose. And Purpose, he is very much H&M Forever 21 type music. I wasn't mad at it, but I just thought, like, after Journals is what you followed up with. I mean, I guess. But Purpose was a very interesting album. It wasn't bad by any means. Like I said, it was whatever, if you want to call it. Like I said, very much dance, like, type of pop music rather than the urban pop. He still had a couple of rap features in that one. He had Nas, I think, Travis Scott, and Big Sean again. So yeah, but solid album. And then we get to Changes. And Changes, as I said in my Grammys prediction video, is a trash album. It's not good. It's very mediocre. I mean, Yummy was the first single, and I already was like, what the hell is this? Like I said, to me, Justin Bieber makes solid music, if you like pop music at least. And so for him to make this single so late in his career, it just didn't make any sense. I mean, it made sense in the sense that like he was doing, and he's doing what a lot of artists nowadays are doing, and it's like making that very generic, simple music that's easy to do the little 1-2 TikTok dance to, so it can go viral on Twitter. Because I mean, on TikTok, because TikTok's a very easy way for your song to go #1. So if you get a song popular on there, then you're pretty much good to go. And I feel like he made a song palatable enough for young kids to do a little 1-2, Renegade 2 or whatever. And I mean, that's what happened. It was a pretty popular song. But like I said, for me, what I didn't like about Justin is his behavior trying to get the song to go #1, especially because The Box was #1 at the time and Roddy Ricch is a new artist. And so you've had a #1 song at some point in your career. Like, let Roddy have this moment. And especially a white man is not a good look. And then he was just doing a lot to like try to push his #1 song. He was putting pictures of babies. He was telling people to stream it in his sleep. He was making games so you can stream it while you were playing the game. It was just so much. So much is being done. And then when it came to Grammy season, he got nominated for about 3 things. He didn't win any of them. He didn't win any of them, thank God. But he was sitting there talking about, oh, Changes should have been the R&B category, so R&B album. And I was like, Mr. Justin, what is R&B about any of this album? Like I said, there might be 2 songs that are R&B-esque, but no. Like half of this album sounds like different variations of Yummy, and the other half is just sounds like B-sides of your previous albums, and not the B-sides in a good way. And so no, you shouldn't have been nominated for anything. So be happy, because you know what would have happened if he did get nominated in those categories? He would have won, because y'all already know how the Grammys be doing it. So no, you don't need to be in nobody's R&B category. Like, please. What Justin Bieber should have done is make a freaking gospel album. Like, he was very much talking about, he's rededicated his life to Jesus and he was going to church all the time. I would have rather you did a little pretty Jesus music, okay? The little guitar Jesus music, and sat your behind down somewhere. I would have been completely fine. Like, you do what you want to do. But, like, this ain't it. Like I said, the boy has had solid albums for the past, what, like I said, decade almost, and you gonna follow it up with Changes, and then you want to double down and try to defend that garbage? Like, please, no. And now we have the resistance, okay, which is Justice. Justice is literally an album that literally dropped out of the sky back in, I think, March or April. The only thing was that there was the single Peaches, which, by the way, I don't understand the reasoning for him putting Giveon and Daniel Caesar on this song, because neither one of their musical, like the way that the type of music that they make does not fit the vibe of this song. I definitely think that Khalid should have been on this song. It had Khalid written all over it. Like, and if Frank Ocean was making music, then Frank should have been on there. But obviously, I don't think Frank making music, and you already know. And I mean, just he could have appealed Frank, maybe, I don't know, because Frank really don't be doing features like that. But even if he wanted to use like a female artist, I feel like Janae Aiko or even Kalani would have been fine on this record. But no shade to Giveon or Daniel Caesar, but I just don't feel like they added really much to the song. But hey, it's a solid song. But that was the first single, and literally like a day or 2 later, Justice came out, and decisions were made. Decisions were made, and this is where we get to the real issue and why I made this video. So Justice has some problems. While it is a much better album than Changes, to be honest, there's some toe tappers on there. Like I said, Peaches is a solid song, but the whole album is kind of structured around Martin Luther King, hence the name Justice, I guess. And there are a lot of MLK speeches throughout, specifically in the first song and MLK interlude. And that's where I have an issue, because nothing, and I mean nothing, in this album has anything to do with justice and has nothing to do with anything about MLK whatsoever. Like, number one, like I said, the first MLK is the first MLK excerpt that he uses is the infamous "A threat to justice, anywhere is a threat to justice, everywhere." I think that's what it is, right? A threat to justice, something like that. You know what I'm talking about. Very popular MLK quote. And he proceeds to sing that nothing to do with what he just said. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. And then the part that really annoys me is the interlude that he uses, and it's basically talking about MLK is basically talking about dying for something. Like, there comes a time where you see, something, you have to stand up for what is right. And sometimes, you can lose your job for it, you can die for it. And I'm quite sure he's talking about, civil rights, human rights, standing up for a cause bigger than yourself. And it's a very empowering, great speech, right? Because this is MLK we're talking about. And Justin Bieber chooses to follow up the song with a song called Die For You, where he's talking about a pretty girl that he liked, that he wanted to die for. Like, what? Why? Now, why would you do that? Like, why? Like, the thing is, if you're going to use speeches, especially of a beloved, MLK was a civil rights activist leader, literally, who died for a cause, aka the civil rights that Black people get to enjoy today, okay? Like, what? Or barely, but you know what I mean. He did what he had to do. It's like, how do you equate dying for wanting for changes for Black people in America to you wanting to die for a girl? Like, you could have just said you want to die for the Pooms. You didn't have to include MLK in that. Like, please, what was the reason? What, really? Seriously.
Me. No, what was the reason? I had a reason. What was the reason? What was the reason? I just explained the reason. What was the reason?
And so that's the problem. Like I said, I'm already annoyed that the name of the album is called Justice and there's nothing about justice at all. It would have been one thing if he made a whole album about, whatever, justice and civil rights stuff, or maybe not. Maybe not from a white man. I'm sorry. I don't want to hear that from you. I'm so sorry about it. And like I said, it's coming off very much performative. It's just like if white people did a TikTok dance to like an MLK or Malcolm X speech. Like, that's what it's giving. It's giving, like, it's the same thing when they be doing them TikTok dances and it'd be like over like rappers talking about they depressed and they like, something important. Like, that's what this album is giving. It's giving very much performative, the same performative mess that all these white artists and Hollywood people have been doing for the past year, because apparently, racism was just invented last year. Like, it's something, and people ain't been dying at the hands of police since forever. It's just news to everybody, and now everybody feels like they have to do something, and it's like, no, go about your life as you were doing before. We good over here, because like, I would rather you just ignore it completely than you do the performative stuff, especially not from you, Justin. Like, because there's the other thing, okay? Because number one, here's the thing. Justin Bieber, like I said, is an artist that benefits from Black people, right? He uses Black people a lot in his stuff. And like I said, he kind of flirts with the urban sound. And so, he can benefit from that. Whereas there are plenty of Black artists who make maybe something similar, maybe even something better, and their music will never see the light of day. And so it's just like I said, you've been seeing Black people going through crazy stuff since the beginning of time. So don't act like now you care all of a sudden. Like, you don't. You don't. Let's just keep it a stack. And then furthermore, and it's like I said, it's one thing if you make that type of music and you're helping Black people out, you're known to be in the community, you're known to put new Black artists on. It's like, like you're doing the research, you're being respectable, you're not stepping on any toes trying to talk over anybody, but that's not your thing. It's never been your thing. So don't sit there and make a whole album dedicated to justice when, once again, it's not even like you got no woke boxers in there. But like I said, as a white man, I don't even think you can make a woke bop, because that's weird. Like, what are you complaining about? Like, or what do you need to talk about Black people for? It's like I said, even if he had, like I said, a bunch of artists, like, and just making a bunch of like Black artists, I could even understand that. It's still a bit weird, but I would respect that more than you sitting there, like I said, using MLK speeches, which I don't even understand how this is allowed. Like, Bernice and them, you allowed this. Is this allowed? It feel illegal. It feel like this needs to be taken down, like, immediately. Because, like, you can take the excerpts out of the album and nothing changes. And that's how you know it's useless. Like, I don't know if it's just there for shock value. I don't know what it is. And then, Justin, we got to talk about you using the N-word back in, I think it was 2010 or 11. It was when he was, like, just becoming popular, but the actual footage of when he said it came out back in 2014. And basically it's him singing One Less Lonely Girl, but instead of saying one less lonely girl, he's saying one less lonely nigga with the hard R. And, he's saying it quite jokingly and nonchalant, like, and like I said, it's very obvious that, like, someone, or, like, he's doing it like, little kids, when you tell them not to say a bad word and they say it anyway, and that just because they can, it's that type of energy. Doesn't really give me malicious, but at the same time, and at the same time, he is, like, 13. So, it's like, on the one hand, there's that, right? But then on the other hand, it's like, obviously, he is old enough to know, hey, that's not a word you should be using, because even he goes on to talk about the KKK. So it's like, yeah, it might not be malicious, but at the same time, you're a white boy, and you know that you could correlate the fact that the KKK uses that word, and it's a very harmful word to Black people. So, like, why are you saying it? And so it's like, I could understand that after that video, why Black people in particular would not want to listen to Justin Bieber, because there's no reason ever, ever, ever for white people to use that word, especially not in the way that he used it. Like, completely trash, not here for it. I never saw the clip until about a year ago. So I had no knowledge that this was ever a thing. But he apologized about it. There has been no other evidence of him using the word, but, you of all people. Now, after you gonna talk about KKK and stuff, and now you want to talk about MLK. No. Like I said, the best apology is change behavior. And in your entire trajectory of your career, I've never really heard you vocally speak out about Black issues or defending Black people. So the same speech you use where MLK is talking about sometimes you got to sacrifice your career and your fame to do what's right. Have you done that? Have you truly done that? No. So shut up. And now the other thing that's pissing me off about what Justin Bieber been doing lately is these dreads. These dreads that he's been sporting. It looks ridiculous. It's crazy. And I mean, I do not... This man should not be having no damn dreads. I don't care. And it's kind of like people have been calling him out on it, and rightfully so, because you're white. You have no business wearing dreads, like, period. And he's kind of like, oh, y'all are just hating, good vibes only type of stuff. And it's like, Justin, no. Because here's the thing, and I already know how are like, oh, it's just hair, no big deal, like, it's not a whatever, let him have his hair fall out, whatever. No, because at the end of the day, it's not just hair. And y'all know it's not just hair, okay? It's like, at the end of the day, Black people cannot wear dreads, cannot wear braids, cannot wear their hair naturally and not get harassed, or not, it's deemed not professional, or people think that people who have those type of hairstyles are unkept and not smart, or whatever the case may be. Like, literally a couple of years ago, I remember it was a boy who had dreads and couldn't even attend his own graduation until he cut them off. So no, Justin Bieber, you cannot have dreads. You have no reason to have dreads. Your hair doesn't even look right in dreads. You look crazy, okay? You look crazy. And it's like I'm saying, I don't know why these are the moves you've been making in the past 2 years, but you gotta chill out. Like, you really gotta chill out. Because like I said, you don't make bad music. If you just made your little music and shut the hell up, things would be better for you. But you're not doing that. You're doing the most type of toast, and you got to stop it. Because you know what? This ain't like how it was before. You have no competition. You got competition now, because like it or not, guys, Shawn Mendes makes decent music. He makes solid music. And for the most part, he's never really in the tabloids other than him dating that dusty girl. But he makes solid music and he minds his business. Okay? Same thing with my boy, okay? Charlie Puth. I love me some Charlie Puth. That is a boy. That is a man. That's a man. That man older than me. But Charlie is a guy who you can really tell he studies music, he makes quality music. And once again, when have you ever seen Charlie Puth in the tabloids? Never, okay? Never. He's never into nothing. He just mind his business and make his music and his TikToks occasionally. That is my dude, period. And so those two dudes, they could really easily take your spot, because you're not, young and cute anymore. You don't have that going for you. You're older and you're doing the most. Like, people are gonna get tired, at least especially for Black people. Like, chill out. Do better. That's all I'm saying. Like, Justin Bieber, do better, okay? Do better, because I'm tired of seeing you on my timeline doing clownery. Like, you are too damn old to be doing these type of things. Cut the dreads off. Okay, cut that little mustache you have going on too, because that don't look crazy. And stop using MLK speeches. Just leave that alone. Okay? Go make you some Pretty Jesus music, or make you some uns H&M music and call it love. Or just sit down. Like, please, because I'm tired. Okay? What do y'all think about Justin Bieber? What do you think about his haircut? Have you heard his new album? Are you ever a Justin Bieber fan? Like, what are your thoughts and opinion about Mr. Justin and what he's been doing in the past year or so? Let me know all that good stuff in the comments. I will definitely see you guys in my next video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Peace out, y'all.